guys, Asher Rayshot Legends. Welcome to the video. I'm not alone. I'm joined by Scratch. Scratch, it's been a few minutes. How you doing, bro?
Yo, doing pretty good, man. True, it has been a bit of a while here since we haven't done a collab.
Shame on me, bro, for not reaching out. If you reached out, so much props to you, man. I miss you. I'm glad. I'm sure my viewers do as well. Glad to have you on. Are you getting ready for the holidays? You and the fam? Are you grinding through raid all through, or what? Take a little time off.
I mean, probably I'll be grinding it a little bit. I'm gonna try to basically knock everything out of the park before hopefully we don't have any events starting during Christmas, because actually I haven't really paid attention to the fusion calendar that much to see if anything starts during Christmas, you know.
Yeah, dude, I mean, it's weird. Like, it's nice that they give us a lot of things to do in the game and blah 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 blah, but also I was just telling you off air, it's like, oh man, like on top of everything else I have going on that I'm stressed about over the holidays, it's like I gotta keep my eye on raid, you know.
That is awesome.
But, you know, whatever. It is what it is. How's your clan doing in their first Chimera, or how'd your clan do in the first Chimera clash? Did you win?
We won the first clash, yeah. The second one, it had an exploit, right? So a few clans pushed in tens of billions of damage.
Yeah,
with,
we're dealing with the
relic,
same thing.
You know?
We're in last place, bro. It's not
this time
ideal
around
here.
same, because I've told the guys do not use the exploit, you know. So
yeah,
none of them did it. So
we're dealing with
we're
some
behind this time around.
Some 10 billion damage newts and so on and so forth. But anyway, we're here to talk about Nukers, man. We're here to talk about damage dealers, and I'm excited to get to it here because we kind of shared our list. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, and we had a lot of the same champions on it, but you had a couple that I was like, ooh, that's a really good call out. So I'm excited to share this with the viewers. Let's get to it here. So why don't you start? You're the guest, bro.
Right. So I'm gonna start with a free champion that you can get from the Doom Tower, guys.
Why do you have to do this?
It will take you some time to put your hand on the champion, but by the time you're gonna get to collect the champion, you should be ready to move on higher difficulties on the Chimera. The thing is, at the moment, we don't have the Great Hall, the
advanced Great Hall, yeah.
So it makes it much harder to bring in just random damage dealers. It's not the same like in the Hydra Clan Boss, but when the Hydra was released, was pretty much the same story. Only a few champions really worked, and this time around, again, enemy max HP champions are kind of like the creme de la creme, but we do have some raw damage dealers that are really powerful, and I'm gonna start with Val the Destroyer.
Yeah.
And I've never been more proud of myself in my entire life.
The main thing that's really good about this champion is basically the passive, right? Being able to stack the damage, allowing him to really do some crazy big hits. So my Val the Destroyer, he does have a pretty good build, 6-star crushing rank, which does help a lot, but he does hit for like 1+ million once he stacks the passive. And not only that, but he does bring you decrease attack and weaken.
Yeah.
And being able to hit with a basic skill for 1+ million, not the A3 or the A2, is actually really, really powerful in the Chimera. Not many champions can do it.
Yeah, totally agree. Any champion that has that damage escalation out the gate here, and it's a really good point. I even checked my advanced haul just to make sure that they add it yet, and
not yet.
Of course they haven't. But yeah, so I guess in that same vein, I'll go next with Ninja, right?
No Fiesta would be complete without.
It was kind of a tough affinity for him on the first rotation against Force Affinity, but similar. Obviously, he's got Hail Burn. We all know. We're all familiar with how powerful that is. Scion Slash can decrease that duration as well, which is super helpful to get back to it. But he also has Escalation, so he has that damage when fighting bosses, stacks his attack up to 100% crit damage up as well. So that's similar to Val's Mass Murder ability. Really good to have that over time. It really helps those stats, and it helps you pull out some insane damage. Moreover, he does have that decreased defense on the A1 to help out as well, and a little turn meter fill against bosses on his A1. So Ninja, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, makes my list, and yours as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, most of the Magic champions suffer on this rotation because we have 3 different forms that are Force Affinity, right? So the Magic champions are getting a bit of a slap. But once we're moving into the other 3 rotations, the Magic champions will just go berserk. And we have quite a few on the list. And that brings me to my next champion, and that is a sleeper, I would say, Holststring.
I got my hopes high.
Dude, this is one that I was alluding to on the list. Okay, this red dot is really bothering me. I need to clear it here. Who is my new champ? Oh, it's the stupid fusion epic. Okay. Holststring on your list is smoke monster vibes, bro. I I love this champion. I don't know why. Just aesthetically, I love him. But I was shocked to see him on your list, but also very happy about it. Tell me about why you love Holststring.
So basically, it all has to do with the trials, right? It gives you the freedom to try and bring in different champions that will allow you to complete even more trials. He brings his own increased attack. He brings decreased speed. He brings his own perfect veil. The Hex is not really going to do much in there whatsoever. It will count as an extra debuff, again, for the trials, which will be really helpful. But he can do pretty serious damage. He does ignore a lot of defense with the A2 skill, a lot of multi-hits, you know? So I do think that he's definitely one of the better options that we currently have without taking the Great Hall in consideration, you know? So that's why I actually like Holststring. And I've been playing him today. You're not going to get to hundreds and hundreds of millions of damage, but if your main role is to one-key it and get as many trials as possible done, he's definitely one of the better options.
I love it, man. I love that call out. It's cool to take the Chimera, unlike Hydra, so used to Hydra with the 4 heads, right?
Yeah.
It's cool that we actually have a new opportunity to reevaluate some of the single target damage dealers who, in all fairness, Holststring actually can do some really nice damage in Hydra too, but especially with Hex and stuff like that, but really viable in areas like Chimera, so super cool. I'm going to give, this is the only dude that I don't think was on your list, but you have a very interesting another Void Legendary that we'll talk about, I'm sure. So I guess you're going to get 11 champions, guys. But I have Turvold on my list, man. I was telling you that I have Toshiro, who's a maniac, one of the best damage dealers in the game. But against this affinity, I actually swapped out a Turvold. I have him higher in the Awakening too, so it's not a equal comparison. But this dude's a monster. You put him with a lot of buffs, and you put buff extenders on the team. And for a guy who doesn't ignore defense or anything like that, Turvold never disappoints, right? In terms of his damage on that Juggernaut ability and his A1 where he can bring the weaken too. I love me some Turvold. It's cool to see an old school Void Lego still viable, obviously, in endgame content. Very viable. And he brings his self buffs as well if you need it on the A2.
Yeah, he's actually another solid champion. So when I initially tested the Chimera, the very first try, I took Turvold in over any other champion just to kind of like see, because mine as well is max basically, plus 4 and 6 star awaken. I was like, yeah, Turvold is definitely going to do an amazing job. He was hitting pretty hard, 500-600k per hit, brings his own buffs, and the good thing is he does help with trials as well. So a couple of different trials that will need to have an increased crit rate or an increased attack and stuff.
Yeah.
And he does do a lot of damage, so he's definitely in the conversation. He can, of course, be kind of like a head-to-head with Holststring, for example, you know?
Yeah. So not, in your opinion, not elite tier, but right there underneath. Is that fair to say?
I think it's hard to drop somebody else from the top 10, but it's hard to kind of like not put Turvold in the top 10 as well, you know? So
I would love for, if you could go, not telling you what to do, bro, but if you could go to your other Void Legendary that I didn't have on my list, maybe that would be a good comparison.
It might be. Once we're going to get to it, yeah, we'll talk about that as well.
Well, go ahead. You're up.
Yeah, so I'm up. Little Miss Annie, right?
Okay,
so, the main thing with her is that she does bring her own increased attack. She does bring debuffs as well, which are actually really, really important. So it allows you to basically create one of the most powerful teams that we currently have in the game that can complete up to 16 plus trials, you know? So that's why she's so freaking good.
So she's more of a trials, great damage, but a trial beast in addition to the damage is why you had her like over a Turvold or whatever.
Yeah, so she does hit very hard as well. So she has the A3, which hits super hard.
Yeah.
The A2 brings the perfect veil, brings the increased attack, double hitter, ignores a lot of defense. The A1 decreased defense, heal reduction as an extra debuff. So she is a very, very powerful champion for this as well. To be honest, if I would be to kind of like take somebody else out, I would probably take Holststring for Turvold, and that's mainly because of the affinity.
Okay, fair enough. I love the LMA call out, bro. And like, I don't know, I don't have her awakened, or I think I have her like +1 empowered. So I'm not sure if she'll sub in on my account over some of my other options, but I've always loved Little Miss Annie, and it's cool like to see what she's been able to do in some areas of the game, like her one-shot capabilities and stuff, and like Shogun and whatever. So yeah, I'm excited to give her a try, because like you said, if you're looking for trials, She's got a lot, and I love that when she comes back to life, she goes in with the attack anyway, right? So pretty cool kit there. Good call out. All right, I'm gonna go with an obvious one, man. Why not, right? By the way, guys, I should have said this at the top. We're gonna do the top 15 supports for Chimera on Scratch's channel, so check that video out in the description below in the pinned comment after you're done with this one. Newt, I mean, of course, bro. Like, I mean, one of the few obvious ones that we haven't touched on yet. I mean, what else is there to say about this dude? He brings a decreased attack and weaken again, so like he can tick off some trials as well. And of course, the Blessed Bash, right? It's a big enemy max HP, still the best in the game because it's a triple hitter. Love it. What else is there to say about him? Anything to add on to Newt?
It's just basically having a cruelty incorporated in that skill, you know, is absolutely massive. They don't stack, so this passive won't stack with cruelty, if I remember it correctly from what Marius mentioned in the past. But dropping the defense on a super tanky target like the Chimera, you know, is going to be so freaking helpful for all of your other damage dealers, you know.
Great call out there. So yeah, I'm sure if you have him, you're probably using him for good reason.
Most likely.
Who you got next here?
So I'm going to go with another obvious choice. Actually, it's not so obvious. I'm going to go with Totorian Wallmaster. And one of the main reasons why it's not so obvious, again, is the affinity.
Yep.
Yeah, magic affinity. But he's going to be super powerful in the next rotation. That's mainly because he self-buffs. He brings in some very important buffs that are required for trials, like increased accuracy, increased attack. Then you have block buffs and decreased attack on a double hit enemy max HP skill, you know. Very, very nice. And he's gaining some thermometer too, so definitely a pretty solid champion. He gets tanky as well. Actually, that's just in the Hydra, my bad, with a passive, but everything else is really, really good for the Chimera.
Well, he's got a little bit of, not to spoil probably the next champion, but he's got a little bit of Marius vibes going on, being that he has a self-buff extra turn. They can go into a 3-turn enemy max HP ability, right? So you can get back to that even faster at times. So that's a really good call out. And I recently put out a top 30 Chimera Clan Boss champions based on the data so far, and he's like an obvious snub because of what you mentioned, because of the affinity so far. So I'm really glad that you called out two in Holststring and Wallmaster, two magic affinity champions that ought to be very good, even better in the next rotation. So good call out there. I mean, I mentioned him. Dude, I'm the worst slacker in the history of the world, but I am now officially on my very last week to get Marius.
Nice. So he's amazing though.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. I mean, I'm so sick of going against him in every single freaking live arena match, but he's amazing everywhere. And I've played him on other accounts and stuff like that. And he's got a little bit of Wallmaster, like the same thing, right? He can get back to that amazing enemy max HP ability really quickly. He's got the extra turn. He's got the increased accuracy. A lot of what you said about Wallmaster can be applied to Marius as a void affinity champion with a triple hitter on the enemy max HP instead of a double hitter. So I don't know if you have any additional insight as to why you love him, but I think it's what else do you need, right? Yeah.
He is the GOAT, and the ability to decrease the duration of buffs, you know, because some of the forms will steal buffs from you, and you're not gonna have block buffs applied because it's happening instantly as they metamorph. He's just great for it, and to be honest, out of all of the enemy max HP champions, he's the best for Chimera.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think I said the Blessed Bash is the best enemy max HP. I guess this is better or tied at least, right? Tied at least. So, and then everything else that he brings with the A3, I totally agree. I think that Marius makes a strong case for being the best overall Chimera Clan Boss champion.
I think so too. He does a lot of magic, and a lot of people are using him 100%. Yeah.
All right, man. Where are we on the list? I don't know. We got two more, I think. 3 more.
We have 3 more, but I'm gonna get Theox.
Okay.
Very strong as well, and that's
still have him, bro.
Oh, you don't? Damn.
So bummed.
Yeah, he's great though. Like, brings his own increased attack, increased crit damage again, helps with the trials. Very, very good damage. He increases his attack with the A2. The A1, if you have another damage dealer in the team, can be really helpful. The passive, which is pretty good too. So overall, I feel like he's definitely an amazing champion, and he does work better if you have multiple ones in the Chimera, you know. But even without that, he's definitely in the top 10 conversation.
how much, as a guy who doesn't have him, and I've never played an account that does have him, I've only seen him on videos, how dependent is he on having all lizard men or the 3 faction allies on that A3? Like, how important is that on him?
So for Arena, super important.
Yep.
It's amazing. Once you're gonna get him and you're gonna build your lizard team for Arena, he's gonna be like, wow, you know, where have you been all my life? For PvE content, it's enough to have just 1 extra lizard in the team, to be honest.
Okay, cool. So most of his damage is just coming off of just the sheer damage. Okay, gotcha. Cool. I can dream, as with, I'm sure, a lot of viewers out there.
I'm glad.
I'll go with, there's a couple obvious ones left on the list. I'll give you the mythical maybe, and I'll go with Acresia. Acresia, man, I mean, like, again, a fairly basic champion to understand. You've got enemy max HP, we already talked about, that's the best thing going for Chimera right now, and she has it on every skill, right? Like, there it is. She can bring the increased defense as well. She has, like, decent self-sustainability as well. You're still going to want to have a reviver on the team, obviously, but with the shield and the mitigation on the passive can help. But really, I mean, it's just as simple as enemy max HP all over the place, right?
Pretty much, and she does an amazing job though. So once again, Hydra all over again. You know, like when it was released, enemy max HP were the goats, and most likely it's gonna be like six months or so before they're actually releasing the new Great Hall. In the meantime, most likely we're gonna see new enemy max HP champions being added to the game. You know, they gotta milk it a bit.
Of course, right? Apropos of nothing, but like speaking of 6 months, I wonder what the timeline is on, like, have you heard anything that I haven't on the instant battle, the background battles, the instant Hydra, the live arena seasons, all that stuff?
So I think usually when they're making this what's next in raid video, it tends to kind of like go for around 3 months or so. So I would expect that we're gonna get some of it in January. I'm not sure exactly what, you know, January, February, I would expect.
Okay, that was kind of my guess as well. Okay, we have one more. Who is it?
Last one, guys, and you're gonna love me and hate me at the same time because you don't want to hear about me.
I left them for you.
Unfortunately, they are part of the game, and Toshiro is the #1 damage dealer for the Chimera. If you have that 6-star crushing rend, right? And as soon as I said it, I feel like somebody just cursed me because I was about to choke here. But Toshiro, defense down leech, which is very, very good. He brings perfect veil with the A1, and if you're gonna pair him with a Lady Mikage, you're gonna just absolutely go ham. Like, I feel the highest damage dealt in the Chimera without using any exploits and stuff, I feel like is around 900 million, and of course Toshiro is part of that team.
Yeah, he's got the damage escalation as well on the Sanguine Darts, on the A2. Keep him in his base form, take full advantage. You got, like, I mean, you said it all. Debuffs, the perfect veil. This guy's a machine. And that A1, I knew, I'm lucky enough to get him. When I got him, I knew he was going to be good. But I just wasn't prepared for the multipliers, the damage on his A1, right? Like, seeing that hit for 3 million, you know, is just nasty. It's like, this is his A1. That's why when you say Mikage joining in on that attack of the Shadow Cannon, it's next level damage. That way he's joining in with the A1 on the A3 ally attack and on her A1 on the Shadow Lash. Do you have any like final like call outs on epics? I think that like the most obvious are just the enemy max HPs, right?
Pretty much, yeah. So you have Geomancer, you have Royal Guard in that kind of like specific order. They're both very helpful in terms of trials as well. Husk suffers the most because he doesn't really bring anything else to the table. And in terms of raw damage dealers, you have like what? You have a Whisper that can put in some serious numbers.
Whisper,
but to be honest, they're not that many. And again, it's the same situation with them not being able to really deal a lot of damage. They don't ignore the defense and stuff like that, you know? So that's why enemy max HP kind of like rules at the moment.
All right, Scratch, thanks so much for coming back on the channel. Let us know, do you have any of these nukers? Hopefully a few of you guys have Ninja and maybe Varl. But who do you use on the list? And who do you use or think that we snubbed, maybe not on the list? Let us know in the comments below, and go check out that video right now that we're going to do on Scratch's channel and continue the conversation. Thank you for watching till the end. And as always, take care, guys.